We're getting 3, 2, 1. Let's go.
Welcome back.
Welcome back to the shower, guys.
Yeah, here we are in Saif Sherif.
So you better be in your shower.
We actually have a guest in the shower today.
Yeah, the shower's a little crowded.
Yo,
actually.
our viewers should start watching this in the shower. That should be a thing.
That should.
Post a video of yourself listening.
Well,
if you're over 18.
Yeah. Yes.
If you're over 21.
Right.
I don't know what you guys are thinking. I'm thinking like a selfie of just like the face.
No, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just make sure you send it to Sherif.
But only. Yeah.
Only to Sherif.
Not to either of
And
us.
I'm just going on record that I'm not asking for anything.
I don't want it.
Right.
I am straight up saying no.
But to start, today, my name is Saif.
Sherif back in the shower.
And today
Yes,
we
Jay.
have our good friend,
Jay.
Jay.
That's it. Okay.
Yeah, alright, yeah.
Let's jump into it.
Let's wrap it up.
Who is Jay?
Jay, who is Jay?
Whom is Jay? Alright, if I could describe myself in 3 words, compassionate. Very
big one.
a lot of empathy.
Modest. Like
Humble.
Yeah, humble.
Yeah.
Humble.
So humble that there's not a 3rd word.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Just
That's
the 2.
good. That's good.
If I were to add a 3rd word, it'd be liar. Those first 2 are incorrect.
How dare you.
But so like
That was a good intro, I think. That explains it well.
It does.
Today's talk, like we're jumping into free will. There's probably gonna be a 2-parter because we want to be interactive. Not that we're short on time or anything. No. Yeah, we got plenty of time. But we do want it to be interactive, so we're gonna talk about this topic and then put that out, the part 1. Read you guys' comments, and hopefully we could get Jay on for a second part. So I put out a blog. Self-promo.
So shameless.
Shameless self-promo right there. I put out a blog on the topic of how your experiences shape who you become and how a lot of it's not in your hands. And like the goal of that was for people to like think twice before judging people. And I left a question at the end and I was like, do you think your experiences play the majority of the role in how you behave in the future? Or is there a part of it that's like a lot of free will? And I was telling you I'm recording a podcast with Saif later, and then you used some fancy words about like the theory of like determinism, and I was like, wow, you know this stuff.
There's metaphysical free will, there's circumstantial.
Yeah.
He knows his stuff.
Right.
So I was like, hop in the shower with us.
Yeah.
We're actually
Yeah.
getting a 3 p.m. for a shower if you want to jump in and talk in the shower.
Absolutely.
Fun fact. I was in school for 6 years. Yeah, 2 degrees.
2 degrees.
25 degrees Celsius.
Holy.
Room temp. I did kinesiology like Saif and Sherif here, and then I did nursing for 2 years. But a lot of my electives in those 6 years were a lot of philosophy.
Dude, that's
Great topic.
going back. That's the one thing I'd do. Like,
Same.
Yeah.
forget those bird courses. Like this stuff, like that gets you thinking in the
Elevate.
shower.
Like-
Literally, like you're sitting there in the shower, hot water running down your head or
Yeah,
back,
yeah.
and cold water, man. Like it'd be like that.
Don't discriminate.
Yeah, it'd be
eh?
like-
Yeah.
Yeah, 2019, eh?
Yeah.
But like you
Can't
just
see.
like those thoughts hitting you. Like I love that,
Dude.
and that's why we're doing this.
And like you can learn like how a shower works, but philosophy is like, why does it work? You know what I mean?
What did he say?
I was like, I'm not there yet.
Yeah. One step at a time.
All right.
One step.
I'll stop.
Okay, so start it off.
Let's start off.
First question, of course, would be: is there free will?
I'll go first. My personal belief is just throughout, I guess, the way my experiences have shaped is like I believe that we have circumstantial free will, but not metaphysical.
What's the difference?
So what that means is like you have choice over all of your actions. So if I want to like jump up and down, if I want to like flip someone off, if I want to like push a toddler into a snowbank, I can do all those things.
And you will.
And I will, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's my list of things to do.
Right. So,
Bucket list item.
Yeah.
Check.
yeah.
So I believe in that.
Yeah.
But then you have metaphysical free will, which is like the opportunities you have, and that's what I don't believe in. So that's like I can't like become a royal, you know, or I can't become like switch my life path drastically. It's almost like there's like a branch that you have, like a tree.
Yeah.
And like I have this huge web of opportunities open to me in this section, but maybe not in like this section, because of just like by virtue of like where one is raised, like how you believe, intelligence, physical fitness, things like that.
Right. And that's definitely something I brought up in like the blog I wrote about, and the replies I heard were so interesting. But it was basically what you were talking about, like metaphysical stuff. That take this in. You're born, your genetics. We all know genetics like dictate this. Okay. You didn't get to pick your genetics, right? You're born. Those are your genetics. Yeah. So that as of like the instant you're born, free will isn't a thing.
And like you can alter that with like drugs, supplements, physically to an extent. But then,
to an extent. But then, not just that, like your whole early developmental period, childhood and stuff,
control over it.
Your parents are like, you're playing this sport, you're born into this family, so this is their socioeconomic status, so you actually can't afford these nutritional, like high nutrient value foods, so your brain doesn't develop as well as it would have with the like high nutrient value foods. You don't go to the best schooling systems, versus like John Doe on the other side of the hospital hall that was born. Yeah, John Doe, man. Like
famous dude.
He's famous for sure.
Shout out to John Doe.
Joe, if you're watching, like
Mr. Doe.
Actually, if you're watching, nobody else needs to. Right? Can you say that?
Just the one.
Just John Doe.
Just John.
And his wife Jane.
But like picture that. The moment you're born, or like 5 years into your birth and John Doe's birth.
Yeah.
He has completely different genetics because he was born to different parents. And he had a completely different childhood that was out of his hand. So by the time you're like making your own decisions, say like at 7 or something, you can start making small decisions and stuff. You're already a result of genetics and experiences that were out of your hand. So that was what the blog idea was about. And like people were like, yeah, but there is free will. Like you can just like control it. I think free will does exist to some extent, and we'll get into that more. But like people are like, I think there's a point where your experiences shape you so much to the point that like it is so hard for you to just be like, stop, I'm going this way. Like you said, you have like a tree you can kind of branch off to, but sometimes your experiences take you so far one side that like it's almost impossible to get to the other side of the tree.
So a thing that I've recently heard is that there's a theory that there is zero free will, because from what we're all saying,
determinism.
Right? Because from what we were saying, like for one, you can't prove that there's free will, right? It's just a theory. But even though what you're saying about the metaphysical, you have a branch of options, and then you say, but some people can like, okay, I'm going to do this instead of like I'm going to break away from this branch. But even that ability or that decision that you can make to break away, your experiences and what you've gone through have led you towards this. Right. So what you were saying about your genetics and your environment, right? They kind of create who you are. Yeah. And neither of those things are decided for you throughout your childhood, throughout your kind of life almost.
Yeah.
So going through all these experiences, like getting all of this influence and all of these biases that we have, all of our decisions are based off of what we know. And what we know and what we go through isn't necessarily like dictated by us, because like even the decisions that we make are influenced by this stuff that happened to us earlier. So every time you make a decision, it's based off what you know from the past, and your past with this theory is never chosen by you. It's just chosen by your biases and your experiences that you go through, kind of
thing. I kind of see a loophole in this right now. I totally agree with you, but like my thing with the loophole is, then are you not set on this like path that's already destined for you? If like all your decisions are a result of your previous decisions. So like your previous decisions, like what decision, like what starting point dictates the decision you make that leads to the next decision, that like kind of like snowball effect. Because what you're saying is true, and I agree with it, that your past experiences, but like for me the loophole in that is, man, like explain to me those times where you have an urge to completely do something, like you're like, I want this so bad, and then like you just like suppress that. You tell yourself, I'm gonna fight that. That's not the route I want to go through. Even though in the past you made decisions that would have pursued that, but you just sat there and decided that I'm not going with that this time.
Yeah.
For me, that's the loophole in it, and that's why I do believe there is free will. Like you said, there's no way to prove it right.
Yeah.
To me, it's like one of those things that's like 4-dimensional, and like when I say 4-dimensional thought, I just mean like we live in a 3D world, and 4D is like something our minds can't process yet. Like we can talk about it all day, but there will never be a point where we can all agree on it. Like not every single person in the world will ever agree on free will. in my opinion.
Yeah, because it's not a provable thing unless, we meet some metaphysical being.
Like me.
Yeah. So
Humble,
what do you think?
humble, right?
Well, I was
The
actually
three
going to say there has been like a clinical trial on free will. The name's escaping me. It starts with an L, but it was basically
My life journey.
it's life. But
Life starts with an L.
Holy.
and ends,
Wow.
It ends with an L.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
'cause it
does.
was-
It actually ends with an E.
What are you talking about, man?
Who's this?
Life?
Are you serious?
We'll bring it. We'll bring
It's
it
fine.
back.
Okay,
we'll
we'll-
figure it out.
I don't know what just happened in the past 10 seconds.
But anyway, the takeaway is like they told someone like, hey, like you're in a study, I want you to press this button, and then we'll just measure your brain
Oh, I
activity.
think I've heard about this.
Yeah, I think it's a really, really popular study. And what they found was like when people were like, oh, I want to press this of my own free will right now, there was always kind of there was brain activity with that exact action, like a few seconds before that time. So the idea is like, which comes first? Like, does your brain say press the button, and then you're like, press the button. Oh, I'm gonna press the button now, and like in that sense, your brain is telling you what to do, and your brain is telling you what to do before you say, or like you say to yourself, like I have free will, I'm gonna press the button. But the counter argument is maybe that kind of brain transmission before is still you making that stimulus.
What if
right?
that's the free will?
Exactly.
That was a part of it.
So those are the two different arguments from
What
it.
if free will is like something that's subconscious?
Yeah.
Like we've limited
that's the
it to
argument,
being like
yeah.
a conscious thing that you can think like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this.
Mhm.
But what if like subconsciously you know your values and you know what's important to you,
like honor.
and that's where the free will comes.
But then is that free will?
Like
If you're not conscious of your decisions,
but you
if
can
you could
choose the
decisions are,
values, though.
can you?
You
That's a
choose.
good question. Yeah.
Can you choose
Because
your
I've
values?
chosen values, but I don't know if I've chosen them, or maybe I chose them when I was 3.
Yeah.
And I never lost them.
Or like what you've been through has constructed those values.
Exactly.
Because a lot of our values come from our family or from our upbringing
Exactly,
or
exactly.
childhood or even religion or the people that you surround yourself with. Shout out to our friends on the Most High. But like all of those things like kind of like plant a seed in you that grows. You're like, oh, no, this is my value that I created.
Yeah.
But like, if I didn't meet a certain person or talk to, like, go through a certain experience, maybe I wouldn't have that value.
That's fair. And like I definitely agree that experiences shape you, like all your friendships, relationships. There are moments where you have such a good conversation with someone, like, or you just witness an act of kindness, and it makes you more likely to be kind within the next hour or something. And this has been documented and recorded and tested.
Exactly.
So like your experiences do shape you. My question is, some people make such big changes in their lives, and like people try to look back and like what
Like,
experience
with
did
no
that, and there was
pattern, yeah.
nothing. Like there was nothing.
Or like
And
I
for me,
was-
it's even like you can look at it from that extreme point, but you could also look at it from the simple point of like, Saif always pursues like this or this or this. One day he was like, nope. And it's like nothing changed. Why do you choose not to today?
Yeah. I think that's.
Those are the two ways you can look at it. Like completely changing your life around without big experience, or just changing it every day. Just like, why do you get a different flavor ice cream
Or why
the odd time?
Why do we work out? You know.
Mm-hmm. Well, obviously.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
easy.
For the shower. Like, I want, like if
Yeah.
we're recording this podcast in the shower, I want to look good.
I'm hitting the
I want to
gym.
look bad.
Exactly, of course.
Yeah,
the most important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another thing I heard, or a thought that I have, is that I think like the majority of our decisions are based out through habits. I think we're a bundle of habits of like, the things that you make day to day. That's just a habitual thing that
But
we.
do you pick your habits and like what you do day to
I
day?
don't think so.
I think your habits pick your habits after a certain point.
Holy.
Yeah.
It's a positive feedback.
No, but like for real, like I think, one of the things is I'm very into like growing out my hair.
Yeah.
So like I'm very like good with like conditioning and like making sure I shampoo and leave the conditioner in, and I think that habit then translates to like skin, of like like now I moisturize with the same level of care that I condition my hair.
Yeah.
So I feel like I don't really care about. I'm not passionate about
Can
skin.
you like look at this hair? You don't understand.
It is very wavy. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's I use Sunsilk.
Let me write that down.
Kirkland's
Hey,
signature.
anyone from Sunsilk watching this? Like,
Yeah,
can we
we
get- can we
don't
get
mind a
sponsor?
sponsorship.
We
So
do demand the
We do
sponsorship.
so we have Kirkland's signature conditioner,
Yeah.
and then we have Sunsilk shampoo,
Right.
Yeah.
and then and sometimes
Yeah.
I'll like mix it up. Like I'll go to
Yeah.
like a Lush or like an independent store, get some like weird hippie shampoo.
Yeah, yeah.
Just for the scent, and I'll only try that once a week because I don't want it to.
Oh, for sure.
To mess
for
up
sure.
my-
This is
Yeah.
truly becoming a shower thoughts
Yeah,
podcast.
like
Yeah.
just
But-
shower. There's no
Right.
thoughts.
Yeah,
But
That's
a
called
shower.
Shower. We'll have a separate podcast
Yeah.
just about shower editing.
I'm actually gonna do a review of my favorite shower products.
But like-
I'd watch that.
But my takeaway is I think after a certain point your habits become things you care about, and then those things that you care about become new habits, and then it's like you kind of said, like a snowball effect.
Mm-hmm.
But I still think there's room for like free will.
Like just
I
to
agree.
go
I
like
think
just
it's
to go
part of it.
rogue. You think?
Like my explanation of it is like, have you guys heard of simulation theory?
Rene Descartes. I think. they're
Yeah.
following him,
Simulation theory. It's like basically the idea, and this doesn't counteract religion because like it says that there is a superior being or organism or whatever you want to call it that created basically a video game. Picture Sims.
Or the Matrix.
Sims are the Matrix, and we are the Sims game. We're
Yeah.
living in the Sims world.
Yeah.
So
Chill Dude 22.
So basically, every decision you make is like programmed, and there are limits as to what you can do because like whoever programs the game says you can't fly because I didn't program you to fly. But the same way that when you play a video game, if you keep going right, like the game will tell you you're going out of bounds, you can't go that far out, or you have like a checkpoint on the map, like you're playing Assassin's Creed or like a first person shooter, like you have a goal to get to, and that's like programmed for you and destined.
Yeah.
But you don't have to get there. You could lose the game. You could go adrift.
You can always
You
lose
could take longer to get there. Take a detour.
different routes.
Do exactly. So
It's open world, so you could do all the side
My-
quests first.
yeah,
Condition your hair before you go to med school.
yeah. Before you shower, in the shower.
Condition your hair before you shower.
Yeah, I don't know where I was going with that, but the idea is that my perception of it is there's a blueprint for you, which is like those already programmed things that dictate what your like max and minimum of achievement through your life is.
Right.
And then it's up to you, like whether you detour and don't achieve all the checkpoints that you could have achieved because you spent that time going this way or that way, or like picking to do this mission instead of that mission. So I think there is some free will to it.
Yeah.
That was good, eh?
That was good,
I just
yeah.
thought about that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I
It's
think
a
I kind
good
of
shower
combined your initial
Yeah, 'cause-
theories with like that theory there.
Because like we both have out of bounds
Yeah.
in the sense that
I think they're
like,
balanced.
metaphysically
Yeah, yeah.
you can't,
yeah.
but circumstantially you can. And then sometime, like with your theory, like so you think you can't go out of that blueprint? Like that blueprint
like,
is
no.
those are the only options.
I find that like sometimes you can, but then I'll find like I'll fall through the floor, or like my arm
Right.
will like glitch out and like it'll
Yeah.
fly that way.
yeah, you'll like
Simulate.
go through a wall.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah,
man,
yeah.
the worst I hate is like when you like when it kind of freezes,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
and then you're just like, oh,
You're stuck on
okay,
loading.
like, guys, like I'll be there in a sec.
Yo, but could you
Yeah.
actually, like, there are situations where you do something that, even though other people, your friends, enjoy, like, it almost feels like your brain's just, like, glitching out. It's like, what is this? This is an experience that I want to do. Like, I don't feel like I was made for this kind of
True.
thing.
Yeah,
and you're
yeah,
just like,
100%.
nope, I don't want that experience.
Yeah.
And I feel like that could have to do with the blueprint in terms of your genetics, your upbringing that was out of your control. But there's some decisions where it's like you're kind of on the border of it. You're like, hey, let me just stick my hand across that barrier I'm not allowed to reach, but you never like fully transcend.
Yeah.
Like whether that be like, let's use drugs for an example. Maybe you were brought up in a household where you were raised that like don't do drugs, don't do drugs, don't do drugs. This is why.
Determinants of health almost.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And like there are exceptions where people do drift that way, and that might be because of other experiences that are out of their hands, like their friends in school, even though they grew up in a household where it was like don't do drugs. But if all your experiences tell you drugs aren't good for you,
Yeah.
and then one day like you're about to try, you're like absolutely not, but you're kind of like on the border with the like
Yeah.
more I don't even
Yeah.
know, like
Man, I
recreational
was
stuff.
gonna say
Yeah.
like you're spitting some truth here in the sense of this is like the the kind of like I've done some work in public health nursing just through school, and that's like their mission, like almost like their purpose, their mission statement, because like some kids like literally have no choice, no free will, because not only do their friends do drugs, maybe their parents do drugs.
Well, in terms of what we're talking about, I think you're referring to like their blueprint's been narrowed
exactly.
so much.
It's been like their opportunity.
Yeah.
Like maybe their tree is like tiny.
Yeah.
And like maybe through some weird stretch of coincidence, some of them somehow become doctors, lawyers, engineers, but like, and like that's
which
just
aren't
like,
superior careers. They're not
branch off.
superior.
but like
Yeah.
that's like an exception. Like and like more like, and it's insane to think like how a kid could get to anything when they're like narrowed so much. And that's why.
And those are the glitches in the system.
Yeah, the ones
that's
that
the cheat code.
Yeah.
they accidentally find the console.
Yeah. So whether there is or isn't free will, I think like we should try to find those glitches. I think like when you run on autopilot, you
follow the blueprint.
You follow the blueprint. And the blueprint might not be the best thing that was made for you.
Probably
Maybe
bad, to be honest.
And the blueprint
Probably.
was out of your control. Like you had other people create that blueprint for you in terms of genetics and experiences that were out of your hand.
Yeah.
And like I'll never forget this. David Goggins. Look him up. You guys know David Goggins? He's like ultra endurance.
Yeah. Like we went out for wings. Remember that guy?
Oh, that was David Goggins?
Yeah, he was David Goggins.
Yeah, that was Dave.
I hate that guy.
How dare you, Mr. Goggins?
Mr. Goggins,
Yo, we're
start this off.
He's a serving.
Yeah, but like basically David Goggins, like super hard guy, runs ultra endurance marathons, like stupid like 100-mile distances and stuff like that. Like he's mentally tough, but he was on Joe Rogan's podcast or Impact Theory, I forget what it was, but he said something that like I loved so much. He was like, I believe that like you do have a limit and like there is a greater power, you do have free will. He was like, there's a blueprint, but he was like, I'm living a life where I want whoever's writing my blueprint or designing it to be like, oh damn, I didn't think he was gonna get that far so quick. Let me like quickly edit the blueprint and stuff. So I think that's where free will comes. Where are you gonna go to that checkpoint, like keep unlocking those checkpoints and like do the things you want to do that are true to your values in nature, and then you can unlock more and more, or you're just gonna like drift around that like you might not even get to like what you're meant to do on this earth, or like what satisfies the values that have been instilled in you and that you've chosen to instill in yourself. So like dude, it's deep, man.
Yeah. So I think like we were talking about like different levels of free will. Like there's the metaphysical / simulation theory where there's like kind of externally there's something that controls where you go, but also internally you have your habits and the psychological, your brain chemistry of how you were raised or what experiences you went through and like your habits that you form. And I think like in both of those circumstances, like kind of how I said before, like exercising that muscle of free will and exercising like trying to hitting the gym.
Quick pump of free will, man.
Quick pump of free will. That's the name of the podcast.
My quick sets.
Yeah.
Superset free will with determinism, man.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because then when you exercise that muscle, you get used to more of using that free will to make decisions that you personally want to make instead of letting your habits or letting the blueprint decide for you.
Yeah.
I think like your best
Stress that blueprint, man.
Literally.
I feel like that's what discipline is too. Getting experienced with doing what you're uncomfortable with.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't fit with my blueprint, but I want to do it. And like you said, the more you do it, the more you get better at doing it.
Yeah.
The more you realize you can take charge of your life, like it's a habit, man.
Yeah.
Like some people like put their heads down. Like as someone from the Middle East, I see it all the time. People that want to be a photographer, videographer, they want to like go to art school, but they're like everyone, like all my experiences tell me that I should be like a doctor, engineer, a lawyer, because that's the big three.
Yeah.
And they just put their heads down like whatever. But there are the people that are like, I'm gonna do it, and they grew up in the same culture, same parents' mentality, same genetic pool because they're all from the same area. Right. But like I think those are the cracks. That's where free will. That's why I'm a firm believer that it's a thing.
Yeah.
Like it's not just snowball, whether it be that it's subconscious and that whole study about how you make a decision before you do that, but it could also be that study only happens for like discrete tasks where it's just like clicking something. It's not like a deep activity. Thought.
It's not we don't have science doesn't have a perfect way into the human mind yet, right?
Yeah,
we just know how to measure brain activity so far.
Yeah.
I think before we like this was a good part 1.
Yeah.
Oh,
And-
great part 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. So
I hope you guys found that.
Definitely subpar.
definitely subpar. Yeah.
Yeah, like
Definitely.
that's how we want to keep. Like I hope you guys didn't find this average. Like,
yeah.
Below average is what we're shooting for. If it
Exactly.
ever gets to average, like
Let us know.
let us know. Like I'd say we'd want to go for over average, but unrealistic, so we'll stick to below average. Just not
Exactly.
average.
And you know what? That's our branch, right? That's our
brand.
Exactly.
That's our part of the blueprint.
Yeah.
Yeah,
man.
like we
Yeah.
can circumstantially.
It's free will.
we
We're
can go
choosing
average.
to go that way.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The blueprint wanted us to be average.
And so we're
But we're like-
defying the
Yeah.
blueprint by being worse.
Yeah.
You're like, no.
No.
I'm taking charge of my life. I want to be below.
I'm gonna be worse than that.
I'm taking charge of my strife.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Dare I say?
And yeah.
and taking a shower.
And taking a shower with my wife.
Oh my god. Happy
I
life,
don't
happy
know.
life, right?
How did?
You're right.
Okay, thank you for having the shower with us. Jay, thanks for joining us in the
course.
shower, and
Yeah.
hopefully you can join us for part 2 once we hear some of what people
Definitely.
thought about this, and we can get like answer some of their questions and
Or the hate mail.
even
I would love some.
Yeah. Hate mail.
yeah,
Encourage.
like send me stuff.
Send just
Yeah.
to him though.
Just to him.
Yeah.
And he'll let us know. If you have a message for me, send it to him.
Send same.
Yeah.
Same goes for me.
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah.
Cool. cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for showering with us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. See you next time we shower, whenever that is.
Yeah. Make sure you bring your shampoo.
Yeah,
I'll bring
conditioner,
I'll bring
like,
my loofah.
Whatever
Yeah,
gets
yeah.
Oh
that.
yeah. Actually,
Yeah.
Sunsilk, get back to me.
Sunsilk. Let us know.
Sunsilk from Kirkland.
See you guys.